Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to Are You Hearing This? I'm your host, Riley Sullivan, and I'm so excited for you to hear today's conversation. I sat down with the one and only Kenny Hill. Kenny is not only a killer musician, but a master luthier and guitar builder. We're getting into the weeds today on everything from technical guitar repair and the art of building instruments from scratch to his history with his passion project, the Black Jackets. We also talk about his experience hitting the road for a European tour with the Quakes. It's a deep dive into the craft, and if you love gear as much as I do, you're going to love this one. Now, before we jump into the interview, I need to share some unfortunate news. At the very tail end of 2025, the San Diego music community lost Tim Lohman. Tim was a massive talent and a friend to so many. I had the pleasure of speaking with Tim after one of his performances as Low Volts, and immediately knew that he was a genuinely kind person. In the wake of this tragedy, a GoFundMe has been established to provide support for Tim's wife, Danny, who is also an incredible local musician, and their young child as they navigate this transition. I've placed the link to that page at the very top of the show notes. If you're in any position to give, please click through and help out. Our thoughts are with his family. It's moments like these that remind us how important this community is, and sharing these stories is a big part of that. On that note, for those of you currently listening to the audio version of this podcast, Kenny is a master of his craft, and seeing some of these things we discuss adds a whole other layer to the episode. I highly recommend heading over to Spotify or YouTube to watch the full video podcast. I've included the links to both in the show notes below, so you can switch over easily. All right, let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Kenny Hill. Welcome back to Are You Hearing This podcast? I'm Riley Sullivan, and today's guest is Kenny Hill. Hey, Kenny.
How are you?
Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome.
Thank you for coming down.
Yeah, this shop is amazing. I walked in here, I was instantly in love with this shop. So if Kenny will allow us later, we'll have a tour of it. I'll just do a walk with my phone here. So first question, it's a hard-hitting question. It's very polarizing.
All right.
I don't know if you realize that you're getting into a very political podcast today.
Okay.
So, nacho cheese or Cool Ranch Doritos?
Dude, okay. I gotta go Cool Ranch.
Cool Ranch, all right. That's the right answer.
Yeah, just because the nacho cheese can get messy.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to do an icebreaker there. So, but yeah, man. So tell us about yourself. Are you originally from San Diego?
Born and raised. Yeah, I grew up in Chula Vista, similar to you.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
We went to East Lake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
Played a lot of music. And now I lived in South Park for about 10 years. Mm-hmm. And now I'm here in La Mesa.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, same. I'm technically city of San Diego, but right down the street from you. So,
awesome.
But so what was your music? What got you into music? I know that's weird. Everyone loves music.
Yeah.
But what's your connection with music really?
Well, I come from a musical family.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad plays. He had a band when he was younger. My grandfather and my cousins, total musical family. So at family parties, everyone would break out their instrument and start playing.
That's awesome.
And so when I was younger, it was pretty much, it's hard to avoid Blink-182.
Yeah.
Living in Southern California, that really hit me hard. But also, my cousins lived in North Carolina. They came down and it was Nirvana.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was Blink and Nirvana. And when I first heard that Nevermind Smells Like Teen Spirit, it was so dry, that first thing.
Yeah.
And then with one swift hit of that DS1, my whole world changed.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the same for a lot of people. But
that's thinking back to that. My first listen to Nirvana was not Nevermind. It was actually Unplugged in New York.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I kind of always wanted to play acoustic guitar. I've been an acoustic guitar player for like 15 years and before I got my first electric, basically. And that's why. But you're right. The first time I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit, it was just like a switch flipped on. Yeah,
sure.
and it's crazy, yeah.
That Unplugged, he had a very non-traditional... Actually, when I was younger, I thought that Martin was modified. It wasn't. It came like that. Well, it came with some pickups. I think he put some different ones on there. But yeah.
And he still played it upside down, of course.
For sure.
But that's great, man. So when did you decide to pick up your first instrument? What was it?
My dad gave me, when I was 5, an acoustic guitar I threw down the stairs and I broke it.
Oh, wow.
And so when I was 7, he bought me for my birthday a Mexican Fender Strat.
Nice.
Black label on the headstock. I still have it.
Nice.
And that guitar, no mods. It's a great. It plays great. And those rarely come into the shop, but when they do come into the shop, it has a black label. It just says Fender in black paint. Those are good ones. I really don't think they need any mods. But that was my first one. I did not throw that down the stairs. Yeah. And I played the crap out of that guitar. And even though I don't consider myself a Strat guy, Strats are the perfect guitar. They feel perfect. I just don't like the middle pickup and the controls are in my way. Yeah. Other than that, it's I think everyone should own a Strat.
Nice. You don't think that people should put a humbucker in the bridge?
Actually, yes, I do. I think that's a great mod. Yeah. Same with humbucker in the neck of a Tele. I think that's a great mod too.
Interesting. I never thought to do that. I've seen people do it, but I've always thought I like a single coil on the neck. But
the neck on Teles, it's either like too dark. Originally, they were real dark, and then companies would try to, let's brighten it up, and it would sound too bright, and so it's very hard to get like a good neck pick up in a Tele. That's why a lot of people do a humbucker.
Okay, so you mentioned that your first instrument was guitar, obviously, and I know you play multiple instruments. So after guitar, what was your next instrument?
After that was drums.
Nice.
So when I was taking guitar lessons, my mom actually took drum lessons, and at Allen's Music, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there was a drum set in the house, so I kind of took that over, and I was playing a lot of guitar and drums, and then in my school band, so I played in the show choir band.
Oh, nice.
So if you're not familiar, or those of you who aren't familiar, a show choir is just kind of like how it sounds. There's people in the front singing and dancing, show tunes, but also other stuff. But then there's the band in the back.
Yeah.
So we were in the back, and we had so much fun. We'd play everything from Queen to CCR to, and they'd be dancing, and my cousin was in there with me, and when it would come time for the guitar solo, we'd look at each other and smile because we had turned that amp all the way up, and we were really quiet, and when it came to the solo, we just hit it.
Nice.
It was like real crazy. But yeah, so I played the drums and guitar in that, and then later, so you were asking me about my first bands that I liked, but shortly thereafter that was the whole rockabilly thing, which really shaped my life.
Yeah.
So I got into the Stray Cats because my dad's cousin, Donnie, he passed away early, but he played the upright bass and gave my dad a Stray Cats record, Built for Speed. He never really listened to it. You know how some of your friends say, you should listen to this, you should listen to this, and forever, you're like, okay, cool, but then it kind of goes on the back burner. Back then, people would give each other records, obviously.
Yeah.
So Donnie gave my dad the Built for Speed, but then after he passed, and when I was young, probably about 10, 11, or 12, we just started listening to that record.
Nice.
And it drastically changed my world. And then later in high school, there was there's this genre, and if people don't know, called psychobilly. And that's punk and rockabilly combined.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering what that was, because I was looking into the genres, and I think you consider your band Black Jackets psychobilly?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
So yeah, I'm glad you answered that because I didn't
Yeah.
know that either. So that perfectly describes it. Because
Right.
yeah, I
It's
had
kinda-
you guys on shuffle all week and
Nuh-uh.
digging it.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm really, really digging it. My favorite is Survival. It's
Oh, thank
a
you.
great song.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So yeah, but go on. I'm sorry. I cut you off there.
Yeah. That word comes from, there's that Johnny Cash song, One Piece at a Time, and he says Psychobilly Cadillac. in that.
Oh.
So there was two bands that were like the first, but the main one, the USA one, was the Cramps. People called them psychobilly, but they were more garage surf punk, and because there was no upright bass for
Okay.
me. But I did get into the Cramps and everything that followed. But a friend of mine who's now in the Black Jackets, we were trading burned CDs. And there was a psychobilly CD that he gave me that he had burned from a friend. Later, I became friends with him too. You know, small scene, small town.
Yeah.
And it had all the big psychobilly bands on there, including a band called the Quakes, which I later joined right out of high school. But they were formed in the 80s. So it was they have had records and they had been touring and all this stuff. And I think Paul, the singer, was probably around 38, maybe 39, early 40s when I joined. And so that was wild. So I played the upright bass. That's leading into my upright bass. So I slapped the upright bass in the psychobilly style, and I got to tour all over Europe right out of high school in my favorite band,
Wow.
which was a trip. I got to see the world and play music and see how all that works.
Yeah.
So that was really probably a turning point or defining moment. I'd say,
That's
for me.
fascinating, man. Wow. So did you play bass prior to them Paul asking you to join, or?
So yes, I bought, because I was into it and I played. So slapping the upright bass, there's a percussive rhythm that you do, and I always say it's halfway in between the drums and the bass, or the drums and guitar. So I already played the drums. I played guitar, and I have a natural rhythm, so it came really easy for me. I went to my local guitar shop that I now work for. When I was younger, probably like 15, 16, and there was an old K upright bass there, painted black with house paint many times. And it had a cracked neck. I still wanted it, bought it. Took it to the World of Strings in Long Beach. They're no longer there. A lot of music stores are closing down. But they fixed it, and that was my main bass. I still have it. It's in storage right now. But
wow.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And so when I was 16, I started recording my own stuff, playing all the instruments, and adding the upright bass, and kind of to see how that would fit in, because the Quakes aren't a typical psychobilly band, I'd say, in the sense that, there's some standard rhythms that you can play with the bass, and the whole genre is really defined around the bass. And so there's a lot of like your classic don stuff, and there's a lot of fast slapping that happens. But the Quakes kind of follow in the Stray Cats tradition of having complex bass lines that are also kind of swinging in rhythm. So it's not root notes. It's a lot of walking and stuff, switching between major and minor and stuff like that. So I really started to experiment with how that kind of would fit into the music that I was getting into, which, coming from Nirvana, Blink-182 was more melodic type stuff. And then somewhere in the mix, I got real into the 80s, Tears for Fears and Bow Wow Wow, and B-52s and Adam and the Ants and all that stuff. And so then that mixed with the punk, mixed with the slap bass, kind of made what the Black Jackets is, I guess, style-wise.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I guess for those wondering, are you the sole songwriter for the Black Jackets and vocalist, and you play guitar?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the first record, that's really just my solo record. I played all the instruments, recorded it all myself.
Nice.
I used to work in Ramona at a store called Ramona Music Center, still there.
Oh, nice.
And they had a recording studio too, which I also engineered at. But that's where I cut my teeth for repairs. Maybe we'll get to that later.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely,
He mastered that record, my first record. So I wrote it, recorded it, and mixed it. And he helped me mix it too and master it. And that was the first one. Then the second one, I met my drummer James, and he played
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so yeah.
Well, that's great to know. Yeah, I had no idea that you just did everything. That's awesome. Fantastic.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. It was such a unique kind of style I was trying to do, and it was, you know, when you're young, sometimes it's hard to be taken seriously or get anyone to play with you. So, but that was just a bit. I had a Fostex multi-track recorder.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, you know, I just loved that. You're just in your room, you know, at your parents' house or garage, and no one's watching. It's just you and the recorder, and you're just having fun, making it happen, experiment. You gotta, you know, you're doing stuff you shouldn't do. Like maybe it's too hot, the signal, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
And there's no one telling you, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. You're just, it's really, I'm sure you know the feeling. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's just before we started rolling the camera, the recording, we were talking about how technology is just the bane of our existence at times. But I will say the first time I got a 4-track recorder, that was game changing when it came to my songwriting. It was just like, wow, because I could hear something like a guitar lead in my head, and I didn't know what a loop pedal was at the time, where you can just like record a loop of your guitar and then play over yourself. But when I got a 4-track, you know, Roland 4-track recorder, I was able to hear those guitar leads in my head and play over them for the first time in my life, and that was game changing. So.
Yeah, not to mention when you first started your audio recording on your pad, the click was on.
Yeah.
True musician.
Yeah.
But like for me also, I'm sure it was the same for you, like that really, the introduction of playing to a click, not robotically, but you could swing within the click, and then layering stuff. You know, you throw down a scratch, guitar, and vocal to the click, then you add some drums, and then you realize, okay, the drums are lined up good. I'm going to get rid of the click. I'm going to redo those scratch tracks to the drums. And you start to have your own, the song, it has its own feeling and energy that starts to come out. And that's really, that was a game changer for me too.
Yeah,
It's just that whole recording by yourself, but the click track.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I know David Grohl is famous for saying like, don't play with the click track, but he's Dave Grohl. Of course, he cannot do that. But for me, as a young person, it really helped. And touring like I did right out of high school, like to be able to really, to know when it's speeding up or slowing down or being just really aware of your tempo was big for me. So recording by myself really helped me.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. But to your point about Dave Grohl, there is a famous interview. I can't remember who he was interviewing or who he was talking about, but it's either Steve Albini or Butch Vig. I can't remember which record it was, but Dave and Kurt were struggling on a Nirvana song in the studio, very like struggling. They just could not get it. And it was either Butch or Steve approached Dave and was like, "How do you feel about playing to a click? We're gonna actually," he said, "we're gonna play to a click. We have to." And Dave admits decades later, that broke his heart.
I think it was Lithium.
It was a Lithium? Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, that's funny. Like even the greats still need to use a click, you know.
Sometimes
some songs you need it. You need the help from technology and a robot or even just an old school metronome that just uses physics.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've already talked about your bands. So you've been in the Black Jackets. That's your project. What are you most proud of from the Black Jackets? What's something that and take your time to answer. You don't have to.
Gosh, I think so. The first record, what was Axl Rose's Chinese Democracy? My friends were making fun of me because it took like 10 years to, but there was no timeline. It was just me recording it by myself. And so that took writing songs from when I was 16 all the way up to my early 20s to mid 20s. So to me, that in itself, that first record, just a big accomplishment. Then the second one, it almost took me 10 years again.
Yeah.
But then, you know, that's the cool thing about DIY. There's no record company putting the pressure on, or there was no contract. I signed 5 records and I don't like the record company now, so I'm just going to phone in the other 4 records. There's none of that. It's just, you know, and you get kind of nervous because you're like, okay, the sophomore record, I want it to be as good as I thought the first one was, but also I want to show change. I'm in a different spot. I've changed, So I think it was Billy Joe Armstrong that said he wanted to change with his music, and they definitely took risks on Warning and stuff, kind of an acoustic record and stuff.
That's my favorite album.
Me too.
Yeah,
that was kind of our generation. Yeah. So I've always thought about that and not try. I majored in philosophy from San Diego State, and so my branch was kind of existentialism. So kind of like why are we here? And the one thing I got from Nietzsche and others was just to live authentically, Camus, and so I really try to translate that to my music. So I don't want to put anything out that I don't like, or I don't really want to compromise on much. I want it to be as close to and eventually you just have to call it. You're like, it's not getting any better. If anything, 20 takes before that was better. There's something to that, just kind of, it's like that art of watercoloring where those guys will do it. And it's just whatever comes out and that's it. There's definitely something to that. And I think about that when I'm taking a long time. I'm like, hey, is it getting better? But, I think that's something I'm proud of is recording and writing those 2 records, especially the first one, and kind of getting it off the ground, because it's easier to find people to play with if you have songs in a record, because nothing's in vain. You're all kind of like, they can show people like, this is my band and this is what we're going for. And this is, and so.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, it's just kind of like, don't rush it. Just take your time and make it something you are proud of, because you are. That's great. I actually like that answer a lot, because a lot of times people do rush it. For me, I like to rush things just to kind of get a scratch tape going.
Yes.
Because that's the thing, is when you're recording or you have a song idea, sometimes that song idea will disappear if you don't record it.
Yes.
Just use your phone and record it right into the voice memos.
I'm afraid of that.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of voice memos, I'm sure, that have on old phones and stuff that are gone now. But yeah, you're just humming, because that's the thing. Inspiration could strike you anywhere. And to the extent that you're not forcing it, if you want it to just come kind of authentically, then it could be while you're driving in traffic. It could be anything. For me, it could be a rhythm. It could be a melody, an idea. Like sometimes, like the other day on TV, I heard this word gangway. Someone shouted gangway, and they were like running forward. I was like, gangway, what does that mean? And I looked it up, and it did mean what you think it means, like charging forward or something. But I thought, that's an interesting word. And just things that are interesting. I used to have an ideas journal. I haven't done that in a while, but just writing down interesting things.
Yeah, absolutely
fun to do.
So do you have a band that you have on call when you want to perform? Because I missed one of your shows a couple months ago, unfortunately, but do you perform often?
Yes. So the Black Jackets, my passion project, the original songs, we like to play more than we do, and maybe that'll change this year. Actually, last year we played, there's only 12 months in a year. And as you get older, you work and have other responsibilities. So if you're to play one show a month, that's kind of a lot, 12 shows in a year. So last year we probably played about 5 shows, and they were good shows. We're being a little bit more picky about what we do. We want, at least if it's going to be far away, we're going to take off work, so we want it to be fun, going to get some good food spots, and we're going to have a cool hotel, and because if we don't know how the show's going to go, at least we're going to have fun playing, and kind of like a mini vacation. But last year the shows were great, though. The turnout was great. So Black Jackets are probably 5 shows a year, and then I play a lot solo. I play at this place called Nate's Garden Grill, and it's a city farm, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there's a farm, and then there's a restaurant, and they even have animals, and there's an outdoor patio area where I play. And I think a lot of the greens and stuff are sourced from their garden, which is cool.
Yeah.
But they sell trees and all kinds of plants and shrubbery, and it's not just like restaurant and there's a little garden. It's a legit, if you're going to Home Depot, the garden section, even bigger. I think they do pottery classes, and it's a really cool spot to be involved with. So I play there once or twice a month. I've been doing that for a long time, and I try to keep my chops up.
Yeah.
And then I was telling you before we were rolling, I just started something last year called Kenny Hill and the Echoes, and that's just we play like rockabilly and country covers, and it'll be like it's just kind of like my group of friends who's ever available. You know, if Fernando can't do it, I'll ask James, or if Andrew can't do it, I'll ask Jordy, and we just get together and play all of our favorite songs. And I also play with my coworker Joe Amato. He's badass guitar player, probably one of the best guitar players. So that's fun to play with your friends.
Absolutely.
And it's low impact, meaning we don't have to practice a lot because we all know these songs. Anything from Chuck Berry to Ernest Tubb, you know,
Nice.
to Patsy Cline to Buddy Holly. We're just kind of playing all those classics that we grew up with. And I usually play acoustic guitar, and just kind of I try to invoke that kind of wild, free thing that rockabilly had when it got started, because I feel like now it's gotten. I don't want to offend anyone, but for me, people study it a lot in the history and these records, and that person played on this recording, and it becomes almost too scholarly, and it loses a little bit of that wild and free when kind of country and hillbilly met rock and roll and clash somewhere in there. You know, that's what really excites me. So that's what we try to do when we.
Nice.
Yeah.
I joke because I tell people that I hate country, but that's actually not true. I love country. I just hate what I call nowadays yeehaw pop. Yeah, it's just not country anymore. It is pop with a southern twang, a southern draw on the vocals.
For sure.
It's not good. I hate it. But that band sounds like very entertaining. I'd love to check you guys out.
Thanks.
Do you guys have an Instagram or like a website where people can follow your upcoming shows and stuff?
I should. So far it's just my Instagram. So yeah, even for my guitar building and stuff, I kind of, when I was younger, I used to have different websites and a whole bunch of different Instagrams, and now it seems like if you want to contact me, it should just be in one spot.
Yeah.
So at least for now, I have a link tree that kind of divides up that stuff,
good.
but it's just my main Instagram.
Your Instagram?
Yeah.
And what is that?
It's Kenneth_Hillington.
Okay.
And then if you go there, my name says Kennedy, but those are all just kind of joke. I'm Kenny Hill, but
Cool. Yeah, I'll link his Instagram handle in the description so people can check you out. So
thanks, man.
Yeah, and then so you talked about playing at Nate's. I've seen you play there a couple times, and you've opened for my cover band before, and I love it. Like everything you play, and I like what you say, because in between songs, you're like, hey, I'm just here to play some of my favorite songs. And it's true, because before I even knew who the Quakes were, and by the way, I got a lot of flack for that when I went to go see you play at Tower Bar right before your European tour with the Quakes. I mentioned in between bands that I don't even know who the Quakes are. I've never heard of them. And everyone felt all the eyes turn to me. I'm like, you've never heard of the Quakes? Oh, they're my favorite band. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that the Quakes was such a big band.
That's awesome.
They live up to the hype, because I stuck around for the entire show. I had an early morning the next morning.
Dude.
And I stuck around because I even waited until you were done you were taking pictures with fans, and I'm like, whoa, I waited just to talk to you afterwards and just express my feelings and my excitement for you.
I really appreciated that. And it's surreal because, like I said, they were my favorite band.
Yeah.
And then you're playing, when I was younger, I used to send Paul my demos and stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
he'd tell me oh, it's slowing down, or it's dragging, or I like that hook, just very kind of bluntly, but that also helps shape my songwriting.
Constructive, and that's great.
But then to be playing in that band is just crazy and surreal, and I don't take it for granted. And that show was special because the Quakes hadn't played San Diego in 10 years or more, maybe. And then because I've been kind of in and out of that band for college and other reasons. I have my life here. They're based in Arizona. Mm-hmm. But then for them playing at my favorite bar, and then I'm playing bass, and then all my friends were there. That was a crazy thing. Is San Diego can be kind of hard for shows because ultimately it's a tourist town, and so DJs are big, reggae is big. and it can be kind of tough if you're playing music. And I looked out in the crowd. Usually psychobilly has a very specific crowd. When you're in LA, everybody has their hair, and everybody's dressed accordingly. I looked out into the crowd, and it was just all my family and friends.
Yeah.
And I was just taken back, because I do think that the Quake style, it's melodic melodies and good guitar playing. And if you're a musician or fan of music, or even if it was your first time and there were people that said, "Oh, I've never heard of you guys," it was just surreal and I definitely was playing and looking out into the crowd and just kind of beside myself. That was cool.
And I will say, do you playing your bass the way you do, because you did mention that the bass lines are pretty complex, they're not exactly just percussive, not just percussive, they are percussive, but you sang incredibly, like your backup harmonies, your vocals, while doing that, I was just blown away. I was like, this guy's talent right here.
Dude, thank you.
I was like blown away. So I was just like, my eyes were on you pretty much the entire time. And Paul is fantastic. His tone, by the way, his guitar tone is so good. And then the drummer, I didn't get his name, but
so for that tour, Wes is the bass player. He was playing drums though.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he can switch too. Pretty much everybody in the Quakes can play it all, which is nice.
Nice.
So Paul needed a drummer, but he couldn't. His drummer had something else going on. So for the sake of the tour, he called me up and was like, "You play the bass and Wes will play the drums." So it was fun switching,
Yeah.
So Wes is an amazing bass player, by the way.
Nice.
But he owned it on the drums, and that was really, the tour was really fun.
I honestly do like he was standing while playing the drums. That's that's a thing with the rockabilly and I assume psychobilly too, right? Yeah, that's I do like that. It's kind of cool how they're kind of like in it. They're not just like standing there, and I think it adds a little energy to it. The percussion. So
it's everybody's in a straight line, but so the drummer here, guitar here, bass here, but for me playing the bass, you got to really be paying attention, because I have the guitar amp blaring in my ear. But you got to really try to be locked into the drums, because it's
that's true.
Way on the other side of the stage.
Yeah, you're right. It's no longer behind you. Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of that. I did bring up the Quakes too, because you, going back to when you were, playing acoustic shows, you were doing covers of your favorite songs. I noticed that you did play a couple Quake songs. So
for sure, it's hard for me not to play. I try to play not all Quake songs.
Yeah,
just because they're all my favorite songs. I try to.
So that was just like kind of full circle. You're like, you still cover a band that you even play in. It's crazy. Like I'm up there playing Nirvana, and
dude,
and then
those are killers.
Yeah, and then you're covering a band that you actually play in. That's just mind blowing.
I just think sometimes I feel funny. I'm like, I'm playing too many of these songs or too many of these songs. But they're just all my favorite bands, and pulling it back to the authentic thing, it's authentically me. I love, the old 97's my favorite band in the whole world, and I usually play a good handful of those, and I enjoy telling people when they go, what song was that? And I'll tell them, and then they'll come back next time and they'll say, hey, I really like that band. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome, because I was just playing all my favorite songs.
Yeah. But yeah, you really need to check out Kenny when he plays at Nate's. That place, I'm gonna go back to that, because that place is like a nursery. I went there with my wife one night, and we kind of walked around the nursery. They have like tortoises and donkeys, and they have livestock, and a great selection of both local plants and any kind of plants that you'd want in your yard.
For sure.
So great, and the food was good. And the music's good. They have a great catalog of artists that play there, local musicians. So I actually like that they stick to their roots, pun totally intended, because they like their native vegetation, their native garden, and then they also love their native musicians. They're musicians from San Diego. I like that concept a lot. Let's go back to the Quakes though, because I've been planning on having you on this podcast for months now. And one of those months you were on tour. Yeah. So tell me about that tour.
Oh, it was amazing. We played a lot of Germany, but other places, Sweden, we ended in Finland. It was kind of like, I don't want to say like my second wind or second or act, or people say, your late 30s, your second act.
Yeah.
But like it was cool to, when I was young, I did it. And then I took, time to do my own thing, finished college, blackjack, guitar repair, etc. And then to step back in it again was just surreal. I feel like, it was just, it's all pretty much DIY in the sense that the scene props everybody up, kind of. So we had a booker, but then we do a lot of the stuff. Like we went to a rental company, and not only did they have gear for us, but they had the van. And we had this big van. I think it was probably a Sprinter. It was a Mercedes.
Yeah.
It was a big van, and I owned the back bench seat. I lived there for like a month, and it's just it's really cool, but it's work, and that's a lot of people ask me, how was it? And of course I say great, but I always say, but it was work, just so they know, that we might travel 6 hours in the van, and then we'll check into the hotel just for a moment, and then we'll go to the venue and we'll sound check, and then we'll go back to the hotel where we're going to get ready, and sometimes take the upright bass up to the hotel and we'll run through some stuff acoustically, and then got to take it back down, and then we'll Uber there, and then play, and then it's going to be 1, 2 in the morning, and in October in Europe it was raining and cold, and so then you're loading everything, and merch, we had a lot of merch, so loading that in and out, and we did have a driver, which was nice. He was awesome. He wasn't he was a friend of the band's, but which is cool when you have a camaraderie with someone that you're going to be sharing. But we're all seasoned in the sense that we know what to do, what not to do, and not get on each other's nerves, because you're living with, those people. And in that sense, it was really great. It was work, but it was fun. And I keep using that word surreal, but for me, because the Quakes are my favorite band, it is surreal in that sense. And for me, my brain's always thinking, because of the philosophy and all that stuff, like just in every other angle about, when I was younger up to now. And it was an awesome experience. And
Well, I appreciate that reminder, because it is work, and you think you're like, you're just on tour, you're doing a Euro trip, but it's not. That's something to think about. Because I certainly did not. And I had a question, because I know that Europe is not just one landmass. You said you went to Sweden, and how did you drive over water? I'm just kidding. But seriously, is it like ferries, or I know there's some underwater tunnels and stuff like that, but
there was, to Finland, that was the last, it was a festival, that was the last one. So we took off from, I'm spacing now. I think somewhere in Germany, I think we took off and we went to Finland. So we had a base that was there for 10 years. That was our base, but we sold it.
Oh, wow.
And so, so that was cool. I had to dismantle. Oh, funny story. When I landed there, we were in the van on the way to the gig, and I had my strings, my pickups, everything inside the van, and I put the bass on top of all the bench seats, and I'm changing the strings and putting the pickups on as we're going to the venue, to play.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I was leaving, as soon as we, thank you, good night, bump, I took the bass, and the person that bought it was standing there, which was a little nerve-wracking, and I had to disassemble all my stuff and pack it in my suitcase. So we did all that, and the driver took back the van and the rental stuff, which is really nice. And we flew to Finland, and we did that, where they had a base and they had some stuff. And so that answers that question about the plane, but most of it was all van. In the past, we've taken ferries before. But that gets kind of pricey. So you're always trying to navigate, what's the best way to, be economical with the trip.
Now, does Paul have to plan all that, or is that something that he hires someone to plan? Or?
Like I was saying, like it's a lot. In the past, we've had tour agencies that would take care of a lot of that, but this time it was all him.
Wow.
Well, I shouldn't say that. We did have a tour booker.
Okay.
And he booked the majority, but like when I say all him, like the little details, like the rental van, and there was probably a good handful, maybe 5 shows that he booked. And because some of these, rockabilly and psychobilly has always been big in Europe.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I think Bill Haley was still on the top of the charts, which
wow.
is mind-blowing. Like that stuff never left. And American culture is so, like, it's a thing over there. Denim and, and it's a trip sometimes showing up to these shows and seeing people in overalls. And, sometimes people are shocked about how I talk. I use words like, killer and stoked.
Yeah.
And these words that are so like Southern California.
Yeah.
And they might have a different idea of what America is. Maybe it's more Southern to them.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, but it's just the whole rockabilly country thing. It's just always been so big there.
Definitely.
Which is why the Quakes from an early time went over there to go and try to make it there. Because there was nothing happening here. The Stray Cats had just made it in England. And so they're like, that's where we're going. We're going there.
Did you have any kind of like crisis while you're over there? Like anything like, just like, not necessarily crisis, but like, you said that there's rain and stuff like that. Now, again, we're in Southern California. Rain means something else to us in Southern California. Yeah. We cancel shows when it rains. But was there any kind of like cancellation or anything like that? Or flat tires or anything like that went on?
No. I have to say it went really smooth.
Good.
There was one time where I like to say that I'm over-prepared, and I definitely was. I had everything I needed. I had medical tape for my blisters,
nice.
Super glue, zip ties. I had all my stuff, but I had a backup pickup that was on my base, and one day I decided to just check it, and it wasn't working, and there was a wire that came loose. So our driver had, Vinny, he had a butane soldering iron, and I soldered it backstage. That's very small because that wasn't even my main pickup. That was like, we had a little merch thing, but sorted that out. Some of the merch got printed funny. The merch guy, super nice guy. I'm spacing on his name. I think he does a lot of merch for big names like the Casualties and other folks. He drove like 2 hours to deliver us new merch.
Oh, wow.
So that
because
was
there was
great.
like a misprint, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we had, I'm trying to think if there was anything that, not really.
Fantastic.
And I think that's just years of them doing it, consistently.
Yeah.
And kind of, you're predicting what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Knowing, how to pack. And in Europe, it's not like, here, you could go to Walmart or Target. They're going to have hardware tools. They're going to have pharmacy items. They're going to have groceries. They're going to have clothes. In Europe, it isn't really like that.
Yeah.
There's a grocery store. They're not going to have Tylenol or aspirin. You got to go to a pharmacy.
Oh, wow.
And if you want something like 9 volts, maybe the grocery store won't even have 9 volts. You got to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of it too. The first week was just logistics, just getting stuff that we needed, kind of.
Europe, am I right?
Yeah.
Well, let's transition into your day job. Yeah, we all have a day job, and I think yours is pretty rad.
Thank you.
So yeah, tell us what you do for a living.
So I work at a guitar shop called Moe's Guitars, and not far from where we are right now.
Yeah.
And it is the premier guitar store in San Diego. And it started in the 70s, which was really like the beginning of guitar repair, I like to think.
Yeah.
Guitar as we know it isn't like all that old. So when guitars were just starting to need repairs in the 70s, there was kind of a boom. There was a lot of local builders that were building, and Moe's was one of them. He used to work at this shop called American Dream. And there was a bunch of builders there that built, including Bob Taylor, Sam Radding, some of these others, Deering were there. And so I don't want to say commune, but kind of like a collective of builders. And out of that came a lot of success for a lot of people, including Moe's Guitars. And when I was little, I used to go, the first location was by San Diego State. I used to go there with my dad. And it's just a trip, something that I was cutting my teeth on to get me through college. after college, I think we were talking, I got that corporate job and with the fluorescent lights and Death by PowerPoint, and it was kind of, it just wasn't me. And then I just went for broke, and I knew somebody, Connor, at High Spirit Guitars, that worked there. And I said, I'm looking for a job. Is there anything available? And he said, let me ask. And lo and behold, just kind of stars aligning kind of thing, I got into the best guitar repair shop in San Diego. There's lots of guitar repair shops, and a lot of them are good. I'm biased, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But like, we just do a lot of repairs. And like I was saying earlier, I actually grew up repairing at Ramona Music Center in Ramona. So I lived in South Park, which is kind of downtown. I used to commute an hour to that shop on and off for 10 years and kind of learned the trade from the owner, John Haas, and also Jamie White, who used to work for Taylor for a long time. And I just, my grandfather was an engineer, and my other grandfather was in the trades and worked with on ships. And so it's kind of in my DNA. But again, we went to the same high school. We were talking before we started shooting that there wasn't a woodworking program at Eastlake when I went there.
Yeah.
And I think if there was, I would have got into this stuff a lot sooner. And but I try not to, that's kind of a thought I try not to go to. Like, I should have got into it sooner. Like, I'm glad I even got into it to begin with, because I really enjoy it. And there's nothing I'd rather be doing than repairing and building guitars. It's fun when you're a musician to kind of build and repair tools that people are using. I think it's a unique position to be in.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I give you 100% credit for my favorite guitar that I own. That's because of you. I was in there, and I go into Moe's from time to time when I'm bored. I just go and just browse. And one day I showed up, and I'm just looking at some semi-hollow bodies, and Kenny just walks up to me and hands me my favorite guitar. At the time, I was like, what is this piece of junk here? Yeah. It's all like worn, and I'm like, oh wow, this is like from the 70s. Wow. And you were like, there are Firebird pickups. And then light flashed. I was like, Firebird. I love a Firebird pickup, And then I plugged it in. You're like, yeah, it sounds like a Telly when you play it. I'm like, it does.
It totally does.
I've always wanted a Telly. Yeah. It's just like, the guitar is perfect. It is my tone. And
I was glad you got that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
I always like my friends. I'm always like, please buy it. I call it like keeping it in the family, because if anybody ever wants to sell that, it gets offered up to the people first in that circle.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm selling this for whatever reason. Like, I know you said you like it. Are you interested? It's kind of. But also, I really did think that you might dig it, because it's very unique.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I did have a podcast episode previous to this one. I did some details on it, and since then I actually had Kenny work on it, and did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Refretting it, installed a new bridge for me, and it plays amazingly. When I brought it to Kenny, I was like, yeah, it needs a refret. I knew that when I bought it. Let's do it. And Kenny started asking these questions. He's like, oh, what kind of frets? I was like, what kind of frets, dude? What do you mean? He's like, oh, do you want it to be like, Les Paul or, jumbo frets? And I was like, oh, you know what? Now that you've mentioned, I really like the way my SG plays.
Yes.
So he handed me an SG. He was like that? And I was like, yes, just like that. And yeah, it plays just like my SG. It feels like I'm playing my SG with the tone of the 325. And it's just fantastic.
Dude, I'm glad you got that.
Yeah.
It's a unique guitar. I think it kind of looks ugly in the best kind of a way.
Yeah.
It's got the control panel on the top, but that's so cool because you can change the pots. You can do whatever you want to do to that guitar. And this is just the lore that I heard on the, deep corners of the internet.
Yeah.
But I think Gibson had a bunch of pieces and parts left over. And so that control plate on the top where the pots are, that looks a lot like the back of a Les Paul control plate.
Yeah.
And so they were kind of just reusing things, which would also, the Firebird pickups, the Firebird isn't like as popular as the SG.
Yeah.
They might have had a lot of those lying around. So they're like, let's put it in here. And you actually don't see a lot of those turn up for sale.
Yeah.
And those are the guitars I think is really unique. I got a bunch of unique guitars back here that I kind of call them like the player's grade, or like, just I don't know, those speak to me.
Exactly.
They're not run of the mill, they're unique.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's kind of what I liked about it too, because everyone plays a 335. Nowadays people are buying the Dave Grohl, Trini Lopez, which is cool. I like the diamond F holes and stuff like that, and the Firebird headstock. But just having this model that was only built for I think it was either 4 or 6 years, and just I have a piece of history. Not to mention that guitar was built in Kalamazoo, not Nashville.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, so that's the Gibson factory before they moved to Nashville. Yeah. So it's cool to have a piece of history like that too. So, and
the owner, he collected that era.
The original owner, or the previous owner?
Yeah, the previous owner. And he had a couple of them, and he said, yeah, I'm going to sell this one because it needs some work, and I don't want to keep putting the wear on it, but it's really cool. Yeah. And I think I might have told you that, and then I think the wheels got turning about the refret. Yeah. And now I have to say it's broken in and it's played just the right amount. It's worn exactly where it should be worn, and you don't have to be like super like glass with it because it's got some wear, but dude, that's a killer guitar. Yeah, I still think about it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, because as a Gibson player myself, playing my Les Paul or the SG, I always fear knocking it over and breaking the headstock. But this one, the headstock angle is not pulled back like the traditional Les Paul or SG is. And
for sure.
That's nice to have. I mean, it'll break if you drop it, but it's not as easily, Yeah. So it's nice to have that. And bumping into things, because like you said, it's worn in. Yeah. Bumping into things is not going to be too much of a concern. It's not the prettiest guitar. I think it's beautiful.
Me too. Yeah.
But it's not the prettiest guitar. You can bump into it and get some more wear. Yeah. Character, I call it.
Yeah, for sure. Patina.
But yeah, that control cavity, like you mentioned it, I don't have to fish wires through the F holes with fishing line, literally fishing line and stuff like that. I was able to just take that control panel off, and I did replace the pots because it is a player grade guitar. It's not a collector's item, or collector's grade. Right. I thank you for that guitar.
Anytime, man. I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, it was my wallet, not yours, right?
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
So, but yeah, that's my number one guitar now. It's my favorite. I pick it up the most, even whether I plug it in to an amp or not. It's the guitar I pick up the most. So. Now we're talking about our gear. My previous guest on this podcast, Chris, he actually had a question for you. He wanted to know, what's your dream rig? Like, what is your...
Oh, man. Now we're getting into...
He wants specifics. He's like, body shape, pickups, cables. He wants to know, let's start from the guitar. I love that. What's your dream guitar? What is your
my dream? So working at a guitar shop, I've had my hands. That's one thing why I show twirling a guitar each day. Mm-hmm. Part of that for me is also showing I have my hands on so many. There's so many that I don't show. Yeah, I have my hands on a lot of guitars, and a lot of guitars roll through that shop, and I don't know, maybe this won't be true in a few years, but I feel like I'm set. Mm-hmm. That might be shocking. So my dream guitar is probably one that I have already that I'm just going to describe. So I put together it's an offset Tele. So it's a Squier Paranormal Jazzmaster body. Mm-hmm. And it has a Tele loadout, which is my favorite loadout. So the Tele bridge and the Tele pickups, it's actually got a humbucker in the neck.
Oh, nice.
And an all-parts neck. That guitar recently is my favorite guitar. Wow. And I grew up playing Gretches, so I have a Brian Setzer Gretsch. I also have a 64 Chet Atkins double cut. Oh, nice. A lot like the one Paul plays. Mm-hmm. And I've got a High Spirit guitar, which I love a lot. There's probably others I'm forgetting. But out of those... Oh, I've got a 78 Les Paul.
Nice.
So I've got some cool guitars, but the one I'm liking the most right now is just my parts caster, and I experience what I'm experiencing with customers sometimes, because customers will bring me guitar parts to put together, and I'll put it together, and then I get to observe them playing it, which is a unique thing, because I think a lot of guitar repair people that have their own shop, they don't really get the chance to see people browsing and looking, seeing what they gravitate towards, seeing, and I get to just do a lot of observing, and they have this aha moment, like, this is the perfect guitar, and then it clicks. Oh, because I bought all these parts, I did all the research, it's exactly what I would want. And that's how I felt with my offset telly. I'm like, this is perfect. You're going, why is it perfect? Because it's exactly what I want. Sometimes when you, like a Les Paul, you're like, I love it, but it's doing this. Or an SG is doing this.
Yeah.
There's always a but. But when you put it, sometimes when you put together is a but then you change it. That's a part of until it gets to that point where you're like, oh, this is super cool. And also a guitar that I built that has this shape to it. Maybe I'll show this shape. This is my own shape, but I have a prototype I built a long time ago. That's also one of my favorite guitars.
Yeah.
I do a master volume here, just like a Gretsch.
Gretsch, yeah.
It's kind of the it's, for me, it's the best of the Gretsch, but then also the offsets and Fenders that I like. That's very Mustang.
Yeah.
So Nirvana. I love Mustangs and Jaguars and Jazzmasters. And this is even routed out to have the switches there.
Oh, like the rollers? The
Mustang switches, which a cool mod for that is to actually put washers so they're sunken down. So they're not sticking up so high.
Yeah.
So if I did put them there, I might put them there. And then this is kind of my neck and body, or my neck shape. So this is kind of like, it's kind of Gretsch White Falcon up here.
Oh, yeah.
And then also the headstock isn't slanted, it's straight, like a Dan Electro.
Yeah.
And the back is kind of, they call this, like, in woodworking, like a hippie sandwich. Like, it's got a bunch of different kinds of wood kind of layered together. But this is, I think, I might be going off the rails, but this is
beautiful.
Thank you. That's what we were talking about a little before we started, is like, my goals for this year, and I'd really, we're in my workshop that my grandfather built and that I've been fixing up, and I really want to get my building started this year.
Nice.
So during my day job, repairing, I love it. I love the repair work I do. And then any free time I have, I'm going to take it a little bit more seriously and try to, really make some of these guitars. This is another, just on the topic of my favorite. And I forget, because I do have quite a bit of like projects and guitars and pieces. And the prototype I speak of is in storage. But that is one of my favorite guitars. And it's exactly what I want, because I built it, and that's such a trippy thing.
Nice.
But everyone can experience that if they build a parts caster.
Definitely. Then that's the beauty of Fender's, Leo Fender's design, is you can part those out. That's what they were designed for, is just like put whatever pickups you want in there. You might have to route some of those single coil routes for humbuckers if you want that, but you can change the neck. If you don't like a neck with rosewood fretboard, get one with maple. And it's beautiful that you can do that. And these aftermarket websites like All Parts and what's the other one, the Walmart?
Oh, Warmoth.
Yeah, you can buy those parts, and they're great quality, and
it's a fun project to do yourself. There's so much DIY, like cool YouTube stuff. That's fun to just, you get inspired watching some of these stuff. And my coworker and one of the owners of Moe's, Walt, he always jokes around about back in the day, like if we see a vintage guitar and under the pickguard it looks crudely routed, but after a 6-pack of something, they go, let's route a humbucker in there. And they go and they get their dull screwdriver and they're just whacking away, but that's the fun, and that's the story that guitar tells, and I love that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about the guitar. What's your amp of choice? What kind of guitar amps do you like playing through?
Man. So my whole life, basically, I played a Hot Rod Deluxe and DeVille, and I love those amps because they always sound good. And the term good pedal platform is thrown around, but it really is. You can run pretty much anything through it and get a good sound. Where some of these black panel 60s Fender amps, they might sound harsher with the distortion than like a newer style amp like the DeVille would. So that to me, and I'm going to mention a few because that to me, if someone had, was like, pick an amp, that would probably be it. And they're available, they're cheap. I see them all the time on Marketplace for like $450.
Oh wow!
Like those are the Hot Rod Deluxe is a great amp, and I don't think it gets talked about enough like that because people are saying that the 60s Deluxe Reverb, which my dad has a 66 that I've always played since I was a kid, that's a killer amp too. That's the kind of amp that you would plug straight into and crank, and that would sound great. It's like pairing, a meal with a wine or something.
Yeah.
Some of those old Fenders, it's the right guitar, it's the right, pedal that you would have to pair. And so, for me, the Hot Rod Deluxe or DeVille is up there. And I've went through recently a lot of amps. I've had super reverbs, a couple of them, both black panel and silver panel.
Those are heavy.
Yeah. So those are 410. So supposed to be a little bit more of a focus sound, but I think I'm a 212s guy at heart. And so I have... But speaking of 410s, I do have a Gibson Ranger. It's from the 60s. It is basically Gibson's version of a Super.
Wow.
It's got 410s. The reverb is insane. And that is one of my favorite amps right now. But it's only like 45 watts.
Oh, wow.
And that was my issues with Supers, is they're so big and heavy, but they're not loud.
Yeah.
And I play in a couple different scenarios, but for the Black Jackets, I need to be loud, and I play with pedals, and I don't like breakup. I like clean headroom.
Okay.
So I had a Music Man 410. I think it's called RD. Gosh, I forget the exact one, but think of a super only Music Man.
Yeah.
And that thing was like 120 watts with a lot of headroom, but it just sounded too sterile for me. So that brings me to my current favorite amp.
Yeah.
Hands down. I can't believe that I found it.
Boss Katana. No, I'm just kidding.
Man! So it is called a Red Bear.
Okay.
And it is a Russian amp that Gibson... It's a Gibson amp, but made in Russia, and they're called Red Bear.
Wow.
And the logo kind of looks like a Red Bull logo. If you didn't know any better, you'd think, oh, that's a Red Bull amp.
Yeah, wow.
And it's covered in that gross gray carpet. And... I think a lot of people compare them to Sovtex, but like the MiG 50, it's like a 65 watt head. But I've played MiGs, and they sound like this, like they sound muffled. This amp, I'm guilty of wanting my Fenders to sound like Marshalls.
Yeah.
And then one time I got a JCM 800, a full stack, and I was trying to make that sound like a Fender.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where am I in this?
Yeah.
This Red Bear amp is it for me.
Wow.
And there's no reverb. I'm a big reverb guy, but pedals are so good now. And reverb is always temperamental on old Fender amps. It's always noisy. It's always going out. There's always something with it.
It's always, you put it on 1 and it's like 100 or on 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very sensitive where you dial it in. So, yeah. But so what do you do on that amp if you want reverb? Do you just use a pedal or?
Yep, I don't remember the name, but there's plenty of reverb pedals that are, I think it might be called True Verb. But yeah, and then I have a Fender 212 closed back blonde cab, and I never thought I was a closed back guy.
Yeah.
But maybe that's that Marshall thing that I was searching for in the Fenders that I could never find.
Gives it like that bass response and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but paired with a tube screamer and some light slapback, that's it. It's a screaming amp. And I go for like a lighter kind of overdrive sound, but I'm a big volume guy.
Yeah.
So if when, like for that song Survival that I mentioned, I might be high gain. Then when I want quiet parts, I just roll it off and it cleans up nicely. That's kind of my Brian Setzer Stray Cats influence there. So I really rely on the volume, and I really need a treble bleed, and I need it to sound good like that, controllable with my volume. So for me, the Red Bear, that's where it's at right now.
Yeah.
It's always changing. But yeah.
So your custom Telly offset
Yes.
through the Red Bear.
Yes.
Nice.
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 That's it. Yeah, that's what I played at my last gig.
Awesome. And then what kind of reverb do you like? Do you like a spring? You like a hall or a plate?
Yes, I do like a spring, but it's hard to find the right spring.
Yeah.
Recently, I got this. It's by Keeley. I love that company. It's called the DDR, Distortion, Delay, and Reverb.
Oh, wow.
And its reverb is more of a hall, but I kind of like it for the blackjack. It's 80s kind of a thing. So people always laugh at my pedal board when they see it because I made it and it's kind of big.
Yeah.
And it even has my in-ears rig on it and it has a lot of stuff. But really, it's just distortion, reverb, and delay.
Yeah.
And the Keeley almost has all of that in one. So there's probably only one or two pedals ever on.
Well, that sounds like an incredible rig you got there. I can't wait to hear it next time you guys play Blackjack.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I've seen you solo. And now, is this the same guitar that you use in your solo performances? Because I know that you have like that Telly that has a piezo pickup in it.
Yeah, I've got that too.
Yeah, okay.
I did a video on my YouTube channel about me kind of modifying that one. But yeah, that's it's a different one. I've got it if you want me to grab it.
Go grab it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We can see what I'm talking about. You know what? It's probably in my storage.
Oh, no
I have
worries.
so many guitars.
Yeah.
Man, it's not. Dang it. Now,
No,
Sorry.
I'll link the video down. And
I've got a picture of it.
People can check it out. But it looks like a Telecaster. It is a Telecaster. But you installed a whole new circuit on it. You added a circuit to it so that it's a piezo pick. Where did you place that?
So it's a Ghost piezo. I think it's Ghost. Yeah, Graphtech makes it. But yeah, it's the piezo crystals are in the bridge.
Okay.
And then it has a cable coming out of each saddle, which is crazy that you got to tuck under there. But the story on that one, so a customer of mine, Mark, he's kind of like a mad scientist. He makes like Swiss Army knife guitars, what I call them.
Yeah.
He likes all the options. I'm like a single volume kind of a guy. No tone.
Yeah.
I don't like a tone knob. I don't use it. And so he wants series parallel, phase out of phase, coil splitting, and every combination of always on his guitars. So that one was piezo, and he had 3 pickups with pretty much what I just described happening there. Imagine trying to mix that.
Yeah.
But I love it because for my Nate's gig, I play, 2 hours, and sometimes your hand can get kind of tired.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, kind of an acoustic sonic, electro-acoustic vibe happening.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't like the way it looks, and I don't like all the options.
Yeah.
So in the YouTube video I made, I kind of strip it down. It has a Taylor expression system that boosts the piezos. So it has that on board, which is crazy. So it's got a volume, bass, and treble up here. And then I installed a humbucker in the bridge.
Yeah.
And then you could blend between the piezo and the humbucker.
Just kind of have that's you can have a clean, dirty kind of sound there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Because I know sometimes I don't want to bring an acoustic to a show. I have an acoustic simulator pedal, which kind of does that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to switch, play the same guitar and it sounds like you switched guitars. But I actually like that a lot because you can blend in parallel, I imagine, right? It's like you have the electric guitar and the acoustic sound all in one guitar. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun. It trips people out because it looks like you're playing a Telly.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a Taylor. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was a brilliant idea you had there. So let's get back to your builds and repairs and stuff like that. So it is your day job, repairing guitars, and everyone dreads their day job at times. My question is, what model do you just absolutely hate working on?
Great question.
Yeah.
Oh man, Stratocasters.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? Just all the screws you have to get? And
I think people don't really know what they want with a Stratocaster. And I actually, through the years have realized what I do want with one, which is not typical, I guess, of them. But basically, some of the problems I don't like to solve with them is they're just buzzy. And it's a combination of the scale length, which is longer than a Gibson. And a lot of folks like the vintage saddles. The vintage saddles are kind of bent like metal, and over time they can develop kind of a flat spot.
Yeah.
Or even if they're not machined correctly, and the string needs to be taken off of a sharp angle like this. So that, coupled with the radius of the board, which a lot of times could be the vintage radius, 7.25, if you're into that, if you have a vintage style Strat. So then you've got a combination of the scale length, the radius of the board, and the saddles. And not to mention single coil pickup sometimes can be 60 cycle hum. And so a lot of times they're just harder to set up and to kind of track down. And not to mention a lot of folks want 9s on Strats.
Yeah.
So it's, you're kind of doing the balance. I've got my numbers. I know what Fender's numbers are. And when you take them into me, I make them better than factory. But you're always trying to walk that line. The classic thing that people say, which is so funny, as low as it could go without buzzing. That's not always a good feel.
Yeah.
Depending if you have like a low frets, like fretless wonder, like a 70s Strat, like a real low feel, your fingers are going to touch the board, and it's not going to, especially if you're playing 9s. And
you do want some of that height, the action, as they call it, right?
So, Strats to me are kind of, they're just temperamental. Those and Jaguars.
Yeah.
Again, because of the scale length, you got short scale. And there's a lot going on behind the bridge. The bridge is rocking. And I think because of the internet, again, like the dark corners of the internet, a lot of people think that, Leo Fender wanted it to rock. It's supposed to rock. Don't just leave it like that. But then they want the intonation perfect. It's like you're kind of in a pickle. You want like an unrealistic... the last thing you want to do is use that whammy bar and have your bridge move like that, and it doesn't go back to zero.
Yeah.
And so I have these nylon cups that I can put inside there that solve that issue. And a lot of customers do go for that. But then there's just a lot of funky stuff, not so much with Jazzmasters, although their pickups can be noisy, but more so with the Jaguars. So to answer your question, Stratocasters and Jaguars. And then conversely, Les Pauls are easy, usually, the Gibson style with the Tunomatic.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, like you had with yours, the bridge might be collapsing, sunken a little bit. They're just easier to kind of navigate. And you're always about time, because, of course, you want to take your time. And sometimes a lot of times, I'll work on an instrument, I'll get it in the ballpark, and I'll leave it for the next day.
Yeah.
Because it sits and it changes, and I have what the customer wants, and that's really important to me. It's like going to the tailor and having the tailor just look at you and go, "You're a medium. I'll make you a medium suit." And you try it on, and I like to tailor the guitar to the customer, which is important for me, because they really, if you're bringing your guitar into a shop, odds are if you're handy a little bit, you go on YouTube and my guitar's buzzing. What can I do? A lot of people try to do it, and some people probably fix it. But when they bring it to me, it's because they've done that already.
Yeah.
Something's not right, So I'm having to fix. A lot of times these guitars are in need of some professional tweaking, and reseating of frets and certain things, shims if need be, and so.
Well, now that we talked about that, I'm curious, what is the repair that you're most proud of? Is there like one that was just like basically sawdust and you brought it back to life, or anything like?
There is one, and I could actually show you an example of this repair. Because I have it, and I found my offset telly.
Oh, nice.
You never know. Is it okay?
Yeah. Okay. Want me to grab anything?
No.
You good?
I think it's good.
Oh, wow. I could see this already. Wow.
So these kind of repairs I started doing because I saw the Glazier shop doing... So they call this... I call it a carbon fiber cast. I'm not really sure what they're calling it. But there's a couple different kinds of headstock breaks. The best ones that you see on Les Pauls, they kind of break like this.
Yeah.
And so gluing them back together, they key together real nice.
Yeah.
And then there's a butt break. That's a terminal break.
Yeah.
And so I started seeing these guys use carbon fiber, and I just got real intrigued by it. So basically what you do, and So this is my guitar, and this is not a Gretsch. This has a funny story. But,
Oh, wow.
But so basically, I kept it like this because, from a repair standpoint, I like to show people, and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. And transitions well.
Yeah, it's fun to look at. But basically, you have to route down a little bit, maybe a 30-second or so, and then you start layering on carbon fiber sheets with resin.
Okay.
And you do lots of layers until it builds. And in some cases, I don't even route down. I just lay it over, and there's an obvious like bump, like where the transition is.
Yeah.
And then I'll make it thicker, but I'll taper it down to just give it, so it might be beefier, and I'll tell the customer that the neck shape might change a little bit. But the problem why headstocks break is because in some guitars it is so thin right here, and this is all routed out, the truss rod. There's a big hole here. So here is very thin, and especially with it kicked back.
Yeah.
So these kind of repairs I'm the most proud about. And if this was a customer, I would burst this, and I would spray it kind of like a dark reddish brown.
Yeah.
And I would kind of blend it the best I could. But of course, about repair is always setting the expectation.
Yeah.
But people are...
Yeah, for sure.
People, when you can bring a guitar back from the grave, kind of, people are stoked either way.
This is literally Frankenstein's monster right here.
Yeah.
Back from the grave.
And because this was broken, Moe's Guitars gave this to me.
Okay.
And they had an old Gretsch headstock overlay, new old stock from the
So
70s.
that's a veneer?
This is a Lore or Recording King, yeah.
Okay.
And so I put this over, and then there's a Harmony truss rod cover that I put. This is like a rocket, kind of a 60s. And then this is actually a cheap Amazon piezo bridge.
Okay.
That I threw on here, and I'm in the midst of gonna put 2 jacks. So again, you have magnetic and you have piezo. It's probably out of tune. It's got dust all over it, but this is these kind of repairs I'm really proud of. And then kind of mismatched binding.
I was gonna ask about the binding. Yeah. So what is that binding there? Is that?
It's just from a classical guitar that we just had lying around. So. I'm not really... This is just for myself. This doesn't reflect on repairs I do for customers, but I like this stuff. I like mismatched binding, it not painted, but I do have this idea in my head of stripping this and spraying it like a Fiesta red and doing like a Harmony or K, like painted on binding, and kind of making it like look like a cowboy, like 50s Roy Rogers type thing. I'm not sure if it'll ever get there. For now, it's just a fun conversation piece.
You mind if I?
Oh, please. Yeah.
This is amazing. Wow. Yeah. I mean, some people are into scars, man. This is awesome. Like, I mean, you're not living unless you get hurt and stuff. This is amazing. Wow.
It's
the way
strong.
like you can barely feel it's there. Wow. Like there's obviously a texture difference.
Yeah.
But the transition between the wood to the carbon fiber is just seamless. Like, how you can kind of feel the human hair between you don't really feel that. It's definitely smaller than human hair.
I think I have the carbon fiber sheeting here.
Oh wow.
So this is what it is.
Oh, I've never felt it. Oh wow. I've never felt carbon fiber without the what the finishes. What is that, epoxy? Yeah, that's a texture, all right. It's like weave.
Yeah, and so it's mesh, and so you have to cut it with a special scissor, and of course wear protection. Yeah, because if that dust gets in your lungs, that's no good.
Wow.
But yeah,
is that like the fiberglass? Is that?
It's stronger, I think.
Stronger, oh wow.
And that's what the Glazier guys were saying. I watched a YouTube video. He didn't go into a lot of detail, but it was kind of a trend among the luthiers. I'd see, all of a sudden I saw things popping up, and with people doing it and how they do it. And a lot of people, like I said, were routing down into the wood to layer and then make it flush. But I've done them before where I haven't really routed. I've just layered on top thinking I want it to be actually thicker. Yeah. And then just tapering it. So I've done it both ways, and I've never seen anybody do it the way I do it. I have a heat lamp that sets off the resin, and it gets tacky because the resin makes it really slippery. It doesn't stay kind of, but as soon as it starts to set off, you can kind of keep with your gloves, keep touching it, and yeah, it's a whole thing. But
Yeah.
I've done a good handful of these, like maybe 5.
Nice.
And I'm always proud of how they, and for the customers, like I said, I've sprayed it and I've made it look,
Yeah, you finished it and brought it, yeah.
but of course, the headstock brakes are always my favorite because people are just stoked that their guitar is back because it's so shocking. In fact, my dad, like I said, he's a player. He has a 175, and he plays for his church. And he said his case just got knocked over on the grass. He didn't think much of it. The next Sunday rolls around, opens it, headstock brake. It didn't take much in the case.
Wow.
So like, I guess it's keeping me in business, but like at the same time, like they say, job security, with the headstock brakes. But I'm just, his brake was a good brake.
Wow. This is what I was hoping you'd show me when I asked that question. This is fantastic. Now show me what you have in that case there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh,
This is
wow.
I'll still in tune. So yeah, it's got a thick, here, I'll trade you some. You can feel it. It's got a thick, kind of a neck. I think All Parts calls that just like the fat. And somebody gave that to me, actually. A friend gave me that neck.
Wow.
Which is cool.
It's definitely, it definitely doesn't have like the heel. Is that the heel here? Yeah, it doesn't have that. It's that's like very straightforward. I like that a lot. It's not like a baseball bat, which I know you built one, right? Is that the one with the baseball bat neck?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, this one. Yeah,
that one has a really thick baseball bat neck. But yeah, this is so rad.
And so this is the original pickguard. And when I routed this, I was going to make a new pickguard eventually, but like I said, it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
It's got these huge saddles. I forget who makes them.
Yeah, so like brass, huh? Mm-hmm. Wow.
And yeah, it's my favorite, because this is a Squier body, this is poly. It's almost like a plastic. So it's very for playing out in bars. I finally got to an age where like, I don't want to bring my 64 Chet Atkins to, a bar on El Cajon Boulevard.
Yeah.
I just don't. And so, I've had stuff stolen. I'm not sure if you have. And it sucks. I'm very aware. Like, don't leave your guitars in your car.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But this pickup is pretty. That's a choice pickup right there. It's a Gibson embossed. They only made them for a couple years. So,
yeah.
So if you took this out and just put like a 59, if it got stolen, it'd be sad. But I could make another one.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about parts guitars also.
Wow, this is really cool. So this is a Telecaster control panel. You took out the 3-way toggle switch here.
And anything I'm going to hit. That's my thing about the Stratocaster.
Okay.
I just, it's my playing style.
Yeah.
People that love Strats, that doesn't bother them. They don't do that.
Yeah. So this says tone, but I assume that's actually just a volume, right?
Yeah. Just because it was a vintage knob.
That's a cool knob, yeah.
Tone.
Yeah.
Then someone told me, oh, that's what Eddie Van Halen does too. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
And then it looks like you have this, you actually have the switch. So that says bridge when it's up. And then down.
That's neck.
That's the neck. Wow. What's the reason for that?
I think this route was not meant for a switch like this. So the Switchcraft, it doesn't. Something about it turned the other way. It didn't quite fit, and I didn't want to route it. So, but then I write that to remind me because this actually sounds pretty bright too. So if I wasn't careful, I'd be like, why does that sound funky?
Yeah. Okay, so when this toggle switch is all the way up, normally it would be this pickup, but it's using this one. And then in the middle, is it both?
Yeah.
Both in parallel, right? And then down is going to be the neck. So, wow, that's fascinating.
And when I'm playing solo and stuff, I actually am on the neck a lot. But mostly live, I'm just a bridge kind of a guy.
Yeah. And then, that doesn't seem like it's going to be in your way. You're not going to accidentally switch it down. That's nice.
I wish that this whole plate was over just like an inch more.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just, I just hit it there. I think of when I was younger, I used to low ride my Strat and it wasn't in the way at all. But now that I kind of wear it in the middle of my body, it's
yeah. And this color is beautiful. And this is a Squier body?
Paranormal. Yep.
This is beautiful. You can see like the wood grain through the finish. It's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a hard finish too, so I don't have to be too precious about what I did in Grovers.
Grovers, yeah. Old reliable Grovers.
Yeah.
Are these mini Grovers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
So yeah, that just happens right now. This is my favorite.
And this is what you play through the Red Bear amp?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right now it's in D, but yeah. Yeah, it's just a killer. I always love these offset bodies, but I don't get along. And I come from a Bigsby world, so you'd think that I would like the Jazzmaster and Jaguar trim, but I don't. It's just temperamental. The bar is always too low. Yes, as a repair person, I could fix all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just not into it live. I want it to work. And in the studio is the time to get fancy with all that stuff and just be, but it's just rock and roll. So live, I just want it to work and stay in tune. That's the other thing. People ask me, they're like, what guitar are you playing tonight? I'm like, whichever one is in tune right now. And that's the honest truth. If for whatever reason this one isn't, then I'll pick up my next favorite one and see if it's and then that's the one.
Now, you earlier said that you don't like working on Strats because setting it up and intonating and stuff like that. How is I know that you have, these are technically 3 saddles, right?
Yeah.
Are these pretty difficult to set up and intonate, those saddles? Because
that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are compensated, so the takeoff point is different on each of these.
Okay.
But generally on a Tele, and most Tele players these days, I think, do have compensated. There's all kinds of makers that make, companies that make compensated Telecaster saddles. But you kind of have to find the happy medium. Which string do you want to be in tune the most? Mm-hmm. Some people actually just split the difference of everything, kind of. But I tend to like, I forget if it's the B or G, which one I favor. I think I always like the B a little flatter, so I favor this one more, I think.
Yeah, because the G always goes out of tune.
Yeah, regardless, right? The G's going out of tune. But but yeah, the thing about the Telecaster bridge, why I like the loadout, is you got 2 strings pulling on one saddle, and that's very unique to Tele. It resonates a certain way. You got twice the tension pulling on a saddle, and you can really feel that. And it's attached to your bridge pickup, and this whole plate, this whole thing is just vibrating, and that's why I like it's the equivalent to my Junior. Why people love Juniors with the wrap tailpiece. That's why I like the Tele bridge.
Oh no! All right, so we're just gonna check out Kenny's workshop here. We're gonna take a walk. We just walked in the front door here. First thing he showed me here was, what's this room called again?
I just call it like the dust-free room.
The dust-free room?
Yeah, so there's my bench where I would be, assembling and setting up, and it's kind of my area. I got my vintage Silvertone there.
Oh, nice.
I love that amp. Got my bench amp.
Very cool.
Some of my grandfather's tools. These are really cool. They're ratcheting screwdrivers.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So that's kind of cool.
So like when you push down, it kind of turns on its own using force. Wow, that's pretty cool.
You've got to be careful. If you're working on a guitar, I'm not sure I'd use them, but they're cool.
Yeah, and that's always necessary when you're working on guitars, right? The Jack Daniels.
This is orange oil.
Oh, okay.
And it's my favorite kind of oil to use on fingerboards, actually.
Nice. And then I've seen this already, but let's show the folks at home here. You and Brian.
At Tower Records.
That's awesome. Wow.
And,
is that a pickguard right there?
Yeah, I got this. That's an old.
Oh, okay. I thought the pickguard was the vinyl. I was like, that is pretty cool.
I actually do. I was doing these.
Oh, nice.
And then I got crazy and I was doing. This is a laser disc.
Oh, that is so cool.
For Tele, but yeah.
Wow.
Then got the ghost covered again.
Oh, to keep it in that? That is so cool. Wow.
Kind of having fun with some pickguards.
Wow. Is this a rubber bridge or no?
No, that was my mom's first guitar.
Oh, wow.
And I just kind of keep that stock, but these are destined to be either rubber bridges or something else. And I was doing this top and back has been off. It's been rebraced. I was doing these quite a lot a few years ago, but that trend has kind of cooled down. I forget which company now makes them for like $300. So
Yeah.
that kind of this one too. My mom's a painter and artist, and I was gonna have her paint a cowboy scene.
Oh, cool.
On this one, I thought would be cool.
Very cool.
This is a High Spirit
Yeah,
guitar.
that's the one that's got the, what are they called? The dog?
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs, yeah.
This is a killer guitar. I don't know what else to say about it. I've asked him if he could make me those pickups, and he said he'd have to take them out because this is the phase where he was experimenting with stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't write down what he did. Now he has a formula, but these sound a lot like TV Jones pickups, which of course, from
Yeah.
a Gretsch guy, why I like those a lot.
And that's his bridge, right? That's his
Yep.
bridge style?
He makes this bridge, which is like a telly bridge, which is my speed, obviously.
Yeah.
And he
Tailpiece.
makes the tailpiece.
Yeah.
And the pickups. He makes, this is like a Bakelite pickguard. Yeah, it's just a killer. This is an early one too.
Yeah, I like his body style too. It's like a offset SG, which
Yeah.
is like,
It's
that
a little
is,
Hagstrom SG up here,
Yeah.
offset down here, telly here. I think his scale length is just a little different. It's not exactly Gibson. It's a little different. So
Yeah.
that's super cool.
yeah, that might be one of my next custom
Yeah.
guitars that I have to get. Those are beautiful.
Yeah.
But wow. And then you got a big old upright right there.
Yeah, that is a King Moritone, and I didn't know K basses are really sought after, bluegrass, rockabilly, but I didn't know that King, there is a modern company called King. This was way before that. This is like 40s, and K bought the molds from King Moritone, I do believe. Then Engelhart bought them from K, and now Upton Basses bought them from Engelhart. So a long lineage of the same shape, but essentially it's like a K, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's,
You got the Tascam in here.
yeah, you've got one too, right?
Yeah, I have a little 12 channel one.
These
But-
are these are so cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow, this is rad. Look at this. Wow. So, all right, so we have some power tools here. Looks like a
Yeah.
belt sander here.
Belt sander. This is the heat lamp I was talking to you about.
Okay.
That I use to set off the resin and the carbon fiber. But yeah, every shop needs a good. Moe's has two of these. One with a thicker grit, one with a finer grit.
Yeah.
So I have some stuff over here. This is a drill press that Moe's gave me that needs a little restoration.
Oh, wow.
And a bandsaw that he gave me that's a Delta. These are both killer machines that he built a lot of his early guitars with.
Yeah.
And I just need to restore them, and that's probably going to be a video too
Nice.
that I do. But yeah, those are in the works. I've got all kinds of. I try to stay organized, but I got like stuff for my machines. I got amp parts, tubes, and
Nice.
I got all my my fittings here, my screws and
Yeah.
nails, and it's just a constant trying to keep clean and trying to stay organized, basically.
Yeah.
Always.
And then this is, so it's not the dust room, it's the opposite, or it is
Yeah.
the dust room.
Yeah, this is where I make the dust. I got
Yeah.
my Shopsmith table saw. Connor from High Spirit Guitars gave me that.
Nice.
That's actually his grandfather's.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
That was very nice of him.
hmm
Nice.
And I just got that air compressor that's going to help me spray when that comes.
Yeah.
Just for and anything else I want to do.
We got all his necks here.
This
Which,
is some bird's eye.
oh, wow.
This was a reject. I
Oh,
had
yeah.
some chip out here, so I just filled it with epoxy, and I'm going to keep this neck for myself. I'm still going to build it.
That's really cool. I like that.
Thank you. This is kind of in the spirit of the arch top that had the break.
Yeah.
For myself, I kind of like this
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, people, like I said, people do like to show their scars, man. That's,
Mhm.
wow, that one's nice.
Yeah, that's going to have a nice figure on it. Bird's
Yeah.
eye.
Wow. Is this now the fingerboards here? What is this here? Is this rosewood?
Yes, these are from StewMac. I am going to get a CNC shortly, but until then, it's easy to buy these.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't know they were on sale. They were like 20 or 30 bucks. Now they're all the way up to 60 plus.
Oh, wow.
So this is ebony and this is rosewood and that's maple. I don't care for Pal Ferro or some of the other ones. I like to stay classic with those.
Yeah. And is this what these started off as? Just a plank similar to that?
Yep, this was the plank. These will be like this soon. This is the template. Pre-CNC, you gotta do all that stuff. And there's a lot of debate about building and CNC, but the truth of the matter is it's going to be safer for me.
Yeah.
It's going to take the spot of some of my more dangerous tools.
Yeah.
So I'm a player and I value my hands.
Absolutely.
Every time I'm making a cut or using the router table, I'm thinking, if something were to go bad, people's reaction is to try to catch the piece. I'm just like, so if it's destroyed, it's destroyed. My hands are the most important thing. So for me, having a small CNC is going to take some of that danger away, which I think a lot of people don't talk about. They just say, oh, it's not made by hand anymore. People like to have that discussion, made by hand. A lot of people would say CNC, just rough cut stuff, still made by hand. I don't even really care about that conversation. It's safety for me. So I'm stoked on that.
Yeah. Well, and then, people buy new Gibsons every day, and those leave the factory. What's their setup process? They use the Plek machine. Yeah. So those are, they're handmade, sure, but a computer in the end, a robot is setting up your prized American-made guitar, right?
For sure.
So right. Yeah, that's an argument for that. So then you have these really cool up here. These are
oh man, okay. So a customer came into a guy came into our shop. He used to have a music store in Huntington Beach. I'm blanking on his name, but now he doesn't have that store. He buys and sells used gear. He came to San Diego and bought this at an estate sale, and it's a Moze guitar from the 70s. And
Moze being your shop.
The shop I work at, Mr. Moze, the guy I see every day.
Wow.
And he has pictures I could show you in a second of when it was brand new. It was beautiful, cherry burst, and somebody, the guy that he built it for, sold it. It changed hands many times, and someone stripped it, and which is really a shame. I don't know why they would strip it. All this checking and cracking is from the stripping.
Yeah.
My coworker pointed out that this was from a pawn shop sticker here that was local to San Diego.
Yeah.
But me, based on everything you've just heard about what I like, I am going to refinish the top, but I think I'm going to leave the back and the neck just like this.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a part of its story and history. But by the way, this sounds so good, just acoustic.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It had nothing. I put this Gibson pickup here and I put this stuff on it. It's going to need a new truss rod, binding, etc. But this is an amazing piece of Moze history.
Yeah.
And actually, it didn't even have tuners, and Moze had some in his stash that are what was on here, Schallers.
Schallers, yeah, look at that.
So, yeah, this is just a killer guitar. That'll probably be something that I film and share with everybody eventually. This is a telly that I made.
Oh, that binding is cool.
Thank you. Some tortoise, and I painted it, and it's chambered.
Okay.
It's got a big chamber here. It's got a center block, and it's got a chamber here. And yeah, this was made out of just wood I had lying around. I'm pretty sentimental. This is my grandfather's shop, and so this wood was just lying around here.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's got a pine center, and I think it's got a redwood back and a maple cap, or maybe a sapele cap. But anyway, this is one that's going to be coming at you soon.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm super stoked on that.
I had a question to you about what's the reason for chambering a guitar? Is it solely because of weight relief, or is there some sort of tonal difference?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think both.
Okay.
I think so. This one is a parts caster that I built, and I did do they call a smuggler's route here, but this was a high spirit body. And that Connor gave me. Actually, a coworker. Connor gave it to a coworker, and that coworker gave it to me.
Yeah.
Jeremiah. But it's a little heavy. And of course, I put the Bigsby on here, and so when I put this one together and I felt the weight, It's probably right at like 8.5 or 9, which is Les Paul territory.
That's what I say, Les Paul, yeah.
But people these days, if you're trying, this wouldn't bother me, by the way, in the least.
Yeah.
And by the way, this one sounds amazing, probably because it has some weight to it.
Yeah.
But when I'm trying to sell, and that's my goal this year, is to keep building not only my original designs, but also some tellies and stuff. And if I'm going to put a Bigsby here, which is why I kept the center block, some people chamber and they keep it going. But this has a strip all the way down. If I put a Bigsby on here, I want to make sure it's still in the, I don't know, 7 range or something. This is my pickup tester.
I was going to say, don't walk away yet. Everyone's going to ask about that.
Yeah, this is literally, they call it the clay caster at work. It's just a piece of clay that I've pressed in there. This is a Rickenbacker pickup right now.
Yeah.
And so, let's see. I can show you what that sounds like. I'll press it down. Sometimes customers will give me their old pickups.
Yeah.
I don't ask. Sometimes I'll just say, oh, and by the way, your old pickups are in the case. And they'll look at me like, old pickups? Like, I don't want those. Do you want them?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, sure. And so in that case, it's fun to see you can move this in any which way. So I think this is a neck pickup, but I put it in the bridge position.
Yeah.
This is a series parallel board I just put in here for fun. But
oh, wow.
It's not wired in right now. But I could show you how a Rickenbacker pickup sounds in a, if it works.
You just have these alligator clips in here.
It's like, where's it? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't get it touched to the ground.
There we go.
Okay. So it kind of sounds honky.
Yeah.
It's microphonic.
Yeah.
So I could see why the customer didn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has a ceramic magnet. So, but pickup tester guitar.
That's so cool.
And eventually, I think I might I'm going to make an updated version of this with a small vise. I bought a couple small vices, and I'm going to put a metal plate on the bottom of the vise. Will have magnets, so you can clamp a pickup instead of the clay, and then you can kind of move it around. And I'll probably have an access panel from the back.
Yeah.
I epoxied that. But yeah, it's just a fun, something.
That is so cool.
So it's such a shame when somebody doesn't like a pickup, and I'm thinking, well, what does that neck pickup sound like in the bridge?
Yeah.
And then I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this. This is my dream guitar. This is a late 60s, early 70s red label or orange label 335
Okay.
TD.
Wow.
And again, you have the embossed Gibson pickup. This it's been re-necked a long time ago. Look, they even epoxied.
Oh, wow.
Where I was trying to excavate that, but I couldn't
truss
get
rod.
it. Then the more I was looking at it, I was like, this isn't right. This is a different neck.
Okay.
And it broke. What happened was the neck probably broken back then in the 70s or 80s. They just re-necked a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to re-neck it.
Yeah.
Again. And I'm not sure, don't hold me to it, but I might have my headstock shape. Kind of like it might look like a Trini Lopez, kind of.
Nice.
But yeah, this to me is, I love a Telecaster. I also love a 335.
Yeah.
I think it's the ultimate, So this is Patches. Patches, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
It's had some interesting things done to it.
Yeah.
And it's got an F hole up there, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And people tell me, oh, you should spray it, and cover this stuff. But look at how cool the binding is.
Yeah. It looks like the binding you have on your offset telly.
And it's just so...
Or no, that was your arch top, I should say.
Yeah. It's
That's
just
cool.
So cool. This is a Patrician, a Harmony Patrician.
Yeah.
And I love these old arch tops. This is my favorite arch top of all time.
Wow.
I put this Melita bridge on here, but it's more or less in tune. But yeah, these are all shop guitars. This isn't where I would hang in any guitar I'm making because they get dusty and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm into just these old. Talk about a baseball bat. Feel that.
Oh my gosh, that's round.
Yeah. And I keep telling myself, let's put a pickup in that, and then I'm like, no, it's the perfect couch guitar, shop guitar.
Yeah,
Leave it like that.
it's got all kinds of dust and I don't know. That's not web. That's just whatever's flying in the air in here. Wow.
But yeah, that's just the guitars I got hanging here. Kind of some of my projects, basically.
Yeah. And now you said what's special about this guitar over here?
This is made out of wood that this bench is made from, and there was actually a bench outside that I dismantled and made this with. My grandfather built all this workshop, and it was a big DIY culture. And from what I understand, people were ordering tools from the Sears catalog and hurting themselves, falling off roofs, and everyone was doing stuff, and it was kind of like that time. So he built this workshop, which I'm restoring, and I couldn't get myself to throw away this wood, so I made this just for myself. Actually, this is the neck off the Paranormal Tele.
Oh, okay.
It's just a placeholder, but I'm not going to sell it. It's just for me, but it's got a big knot right here. And
a tone knot.
Yeah, tone knot. My mind just gets moving. I'm like, this is rotting wood, but I wonder if I could make a guitar from it.
Yeah.
And talk about the trim that I don't like that I threw on.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But all these guitars are out of tune. But yeah, it's bound to be something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably another shop guitar.
I mean, that's something that someone would even love hanging on their wall. But that's another thing too. Is you as a guitar builder, I'm sure you don't want to build a guitar to have someone hang on their wall, right?
Yeah.
You definitely want them to be, pieces that they play rather than art pieces. I mean, they can be both, but
I think about that. How can I make something that someone's gonna want to just play? It would be a shame if they didn't play it. Like how do you do that? I'm still trying to figure it out, but as long as it's not like a PRS, I think I'm all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the joke. The lawyer and doctor guitars.
Yeah.
PRSs are great. But,
yeah. You just won't be caught dead playing one.
Yeah. If I had a recording studio, absolutely I'd have a PRS
Yeah.
inside there. I wouldn't play it live, but every time I work on them and play them, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
They're in between a Fender and a Gibson, and they do the thing. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like some people buy vintage guitars because they sound good.
Mm-hmm.
They use them just in the studio, but when they're on tour, they're playing whatever you can buy.
That heavy Les Paul or Telly.
Yeah, exactly.
What about that one time I was in Rolling Stone? You want to see that?
Oh yeah.
So this is a Brazilian Rolling Stone. This just shows you when Lady Gaga was just breaking out.
Yeah.
And it's not much. But there I am.
Wow. Oh, with the Quakes.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Wow. If anyone can read Portuguese, huh?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So yeah, it's just a little blurb, but it's kind of something I'm proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep it in this little Blues Brothers style brief.
Yeah.
Nice. And we're back.
There we go. Okay. All right. So, camera overheated. We had to take a break, let it cool down. So we'll patch in the little tour that I was going to save for the last, but we'll just put it in there. But finally, I think this is a good stopping point anyway. Mm-hmm. If it's okay with you, I'd like to invite you back, and
I'd love to.
And we'll do some more topics and stuff like that, because I feel like we barely scratched the surface. Your talents are just endless. So
Dude, thank you.
Yeah. So before we go, I just kind of want to see, do you have any shows upcoming? Do you have any album releases, anything like that coming up? Or
Yeah, good. Black Jackets are working on a new record. Songs are written, but we need to book studio time, so that's happening.
Nice.
I'm playing at Nate's, not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Awesome.
So that should be rad. And that's all I got for playing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then you build the guitars. Do you commission guitars? Do you build guitars for people?
That's something I'm still thinking about.
Okay.
So far my vibe has been I would like to create something and then have those things on display, and if somebody likes it, they'll buy it. I think that's one way. just because I've seen from other people, commissioning builds can sometimes be a little crazy, like stress wise, and someone might change their mind and like redoing stuff and stripping guitars and repainting a different color. I think it can be a little overwhelming. So I think I'll probably just do the basic of having like some color choices and, you can choose the pick guard material and, stuff like that. But I mostly want to, I think at this point anyways, everything's changing always, but I'd like to just create the guitars and post them. And if someone likes it, that stokes me. That I guess it'd be like painting something and then having someone buy it. I think they're stoked and I'm stoked because they like what I built, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. I thank you for your time, welcoming into your workshop. And
yeah, dude.
And thank you so much.
Yeah,
man.
anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for hearing this. That's my sign off.